Hey guys, welcome to Leather&Liquor&Guns. I'm Devin.
I'm Steven.
And today we're going to be covering the updates on Measure 114 from the hearing on January 3rd. We are going to be reading from OPB. We are Oregonians, and we're going to be giving our thoughts and just kind of our opinions on it throughout the way and possibly towards the end. We are taking a little bit of a sip off some of our raspberry homebrew.
Cheers.
Pink. Bitter like raspberry. That's how I like it.
Good stuff.
But, so we're going to get reading. Right. Oregon judge rules new firearms background check requirements cannot go into effect. By Jonathan Levinson. Ballot Measure 114, which would create stricter gun laws in Oregon, is now blocked by state courts in its entirety pending a full trial. Oregon Measures 114, which would have significantly tightened Oregon gun laws, is blocked in its entirety after decision Tuesday by Harney County Circuit Judge Robert Rastjo. The law, passed by voters on a razor-thin margin in November, has been through several hearings, including 3 in Harney County. The latest, on December 23rd, kicked off with a reminder to all present, don't bring your guns into the courtroom.
Which is kind of common sense. Come on, guys, be reasonable.
It should be, you may not have grown up the boonies, but
No, I get it. There's cultures that have,
but it should be.
Do that. But just in today's day and age, be smart. Don't.
Yeah.
You know what you can.
They got
can't
metal
be.
detectors.
You know what they're gonna freak out about.
They search you.
Yeah, and they do search.
Especially
you.
for a gun hearing, I can't imagine they wouldn't be searching people.
Yeah, gun hearing.
Well, for them to literally start it off, don't bring your guns in. How many people got caught bringing their guns into the last freaking hearing?
Probably a lot.
Like, that's funny. They don't make a rule because nobody's done it before. So, let me find the... Moving on. The case before Harney County Circuit Court argued that the new voter-approved gun laws violate the state constitutional right to bear arms. The hearing was to decide if a portion of Ballot Measure 114, requiring a completed background check for every firearms sale or transfer, could go into effect even while other portions are temporarily blocked by the court. After taking more than a week to deliberate, Rastjo ruled on Tuesday that the state cannot implement the additional background check requirement. The new requirement, if implemented in the future, would close a gap in federal law known as the Charleston loophole, provision in federal law that allows a firearms dealer to move ahead with a sale after 3 days even if the background check is not yet completed. The loophole is what allowed a white man in Charleston, South Carolina, to buy a gun in 2015 before going on a racist killing spree, murdering 9 people in a historically black Mother Emanuel church. In arguments presented in court December 23rd, debate focused on specifics of the ballot measure's wording and whether or not its background check provisions could legally be separated from the 2 other provisions of the law, an issue known as severability. The court declines to remove the background check provisions from the temporary restraining order, as the provisions are intertwined with the permit to purchase program, and the court has made no final determination on constitutionality of the program, Rastjo wrote in his order. The members' rule requiring a permit to buy a gun also requires a completed background check to transfer, or for a transfer to take place. The firearms dealer has 48 hours to notify the state that a firearm transfer to the permit holder was completed. The permit to purchase program is on hold until the state creates an application and review process. Once complete, Rastjo and a federal judge must approve the new system. Lawyers for the group that brought the lawsuit, Gun Owners of America, said that the court cannot allow the background checks to go forward without the permit requirement, since the measure's language refers to a permit holder and not a purchaser. Therefore, attorney Tony Ailio, argued the court would have to change the language of the law to implement it, and that would not be appropriate. The state countered, citing the ballot measures section specifically addressing severability. The measure says that if any articles, sections, subsections, sentences, or clauses are blocked or found to be unconstitutional, the voters still want the remaining portions to be implemented. We don't. Actually, everything in it's been being stopped individually. Sorry.
Yeah,
Harry
we really
Wilson, Harry Wilson, representing the state, said voters explicitly asked the court to drill down and scrutinize the measure's sentences and clauses where necessary to preserve as much of the legislation as possible. Measure 14 makes it a crime to transfer a firearm to a person who does not have a valid permit to purchase, and when a background check has not been completed. Wilson said the court could block the permit requirement and still allow the background check requirement to take effect. He also said the judge could temporarily pause the 48-hour notification requirement, but noted that blocking the entirety of the provision would go against the language of the measure. Voters clearly wanted these portions to be severable, Wilson said. Roscio disagreed. The court would be separating sentences at commas and considering the phrase permit holder surplusage, he wrote in his order, using legal term for irrelevant language. It is not surplusage. He said he would not rule on severability, or he said he would rule on severability only if the permit requirement is ultimately found to be unconstitutional. Oregonians voted for the additional background check rule in November when they approved ballot measure 114. The measure's provisions also ban the sale of magazines holding more than 10 rounds and require a permit to purchase a firearm. The measure was supposed to take effect on December 8th, but Roscio has blocked the law from taking effect pending a trial. Lawyers for Gun Owners of America submitted testimony from a man who spent nearly 8 years doing background investigations for the Oregon State Police. Brian Jones said he left his job in April 2022 for many reasons. Among these reasons was my concern that the tone and culture of the unit had changed dramatically during my tenure from let's process quickly and catch the bad guys to how can we hang people's background checks up, Jones wrote in his testimony. Jones also said he spoke to hundreds of licensed firearms dealers in the state, and he believes it is rare for dealers to release a firearm before a background check is complete. Since which honestly, like stopping right there, that makes fucking sense. Like,
I haven't ever heard of anybody actually going through with the Charleston loop except for that one guy and that one article. I have never ever heard of the Charleston loop.
You got told to come and get your fucking refund.
Yeah.
Almost literally a month later.
So, like, and I've been around people buying guns my entire life.
You wait for the background check.
You wait for the background check. You never get it 3 days after if it hasn't gone through. That who does that? Not any legal gun business. No legal gun business is going to do that.
They do. Mm-hmm. Since Measure 114 passed, gun purchases in the state have increased dramatically, resulting in corresponding increases in background checks. Facing a cumbersome backlog, several gun stores in the state have started doing exactly what Drun said is so rare. So, I wanted to read that sentence real quick. When they said, oh, this is something that you do, and this is something we're going to stop, a bunch of shops got told, hey, you have to close come the first of the month. There's a bunch of gun shops with boards up on their windows and shit.
All over the place.
And they got told, hey, close your doors. And they went, oh, so supposedly that's a real thing? Well, we have to close our doors. That's literally, I heard about it from Measure 114. And then because of Measure 114, I heard about it again. That was the only time I had ever heard about it.
Pretty much, yeah. I've never heard anybody ever talk about the Charleston loophole. And like I said, I've been around hunters. I've been around military men my entire life. Okay. Men and women, you know, people that hunt, people that own guns, people that go and buy guns. I've been around them my entire life, and nobody's ever gotten a gun after 3 days of their background check not going through.
Yeah,
if they got it 3 days after they purchased it, it's because the background check went through.
Right.
It's never been because of the Charleston loophole. Their background check was through.
Okay. Roscio, however, was not persuaded by the argument, stating in court that the state's slow-paced processing background checks has nothing to do with whether or not the requirement is constitutional. if in fact the state were to at any time to slow walk background checks to a degree that's demonstrable that there's a separate distinct action, Roscoe said. If it doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing, or it doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing here today. Earlier this month, Roscoe issued a preliminary injunction on the magazine ban, saying magazines are indistinguishable from firearms and essential to their protective power. He appeared convinced by arguments that 10-round magazines meeting Measure 114's strict requirements are extremely rare, and that without the ability to buy magazines, firearms become essentially useless. So you want to pop the mag out of that real quick for me?
Gladly.
And so there's no numbers on the back of it, but this is a magazine for, can I say this?
Yes, sir.
A CZ82 and 9mm Makarov. That comes with a 12-round magazine. That was made in, this one particularly was made in 88. This here is an FN 509 Tactical. This comes with a 17-round magazine. Well, then in the carrying case, it comes with a 24-round magazine. And if it is right over here, we can possibly see this is a plain run-of-the-mill surplus AK mag. It comes with any AK you get. 30 rounds. That's not no high capacity because it's standard. It comes with everything. Every gun we have right here. Besides Marcy, which is a 1911, which was literally designed in the year 1911. But it's such a good gun, it's still relevant. I mean, you compare it up against some other guns that are newer, it don't compare in capacity. Mainly because of how fat that freaking round is. But a 9mm, especially commonplace, is on my picking.
Yeah, do me a favor, pop Marcy's round out real quick. Just.
Yeah, the difference here is that's a 45 ACP. That's a 9x18 Makarov. Yeah, that's a little bit of a difference. Alright, moving on. While the preamble of the ballot measure states it promotes public safety, the court finds it does not do so in any measurable way, Roscoe wrote. Roscoe was unconvinced by the state's argument that high-capacity magazines are a common factor in mass shooting, resulting in 14 or more deaths, pointing out that there has only been 10 events meeting the criteria in the past 18 years. The court finds that there is less than a 1 in a million chance of a person being a fatality in a mass shooting in Oregon, Roscoe wrote. And even less with an offender who is using a large capacity magazine. That's a crazy number. Like, for them to bring all this up as so important and everything. Like, that's... Moving on. According to the Gun Violence Archive, a group that tracks gun violence in the U.S., there were 6 mass shootings in Oregon in 2022, leaving 6 dead and 24 injured. The group counts any shooting where 4 or more people are injured or killed, not including the shooter. A review of gun policy research conducted by RAND, all capital letters, Corporation, a nonpartisan research firm, found no clear evidence permit-to-purchase laws on their own reduce gun violence. But that same review found states with stricter gun laws have lower homicide and suicide rates. I wonder how many of those they honestly just pin as like gang-related or don't freaking count and everything. Because, like, you're always hearing of these gang wars and everything down in California and everything. But supposedly they don't have nothing like deals like that. Freaking colored me sideways. A new research shows high-capacity magazines bans, like the one Roscoe blocked, do in fact reduce mass shootings. While the law is held up in state court, federal courts have been more receptive to the measure. In November, a federal judge temporarily blocked the permit requirement, finding the state did not yet have systems in place to process applications. She ruled the other portions of the law could take effect as scheduled.
We all knew that there were no systems in place.
No,
for
the
any
police panicked, dude.
Like, we knew this from the beginning, so this information coming out is... It's like, yeah, we were all
it's a
saying
slap in the
this.
face. Plaintiffs have failed to demonstrate that they will suffer immediate and irreparable harm if the court does not block Measure 114 from taking effect on December 8th, 2022, U.S. District Court Judge Karen Immergert wrote, adding that the group who challenged the law did not appear likely to succeed in their challenge. Well, guess what, Karen? It's looking like it's taking some time. Hopefully, real Americans can win. Roscoe's orders means Measure 114 is blocked from taking effect in its entirety until he rules on its constitutionality of each individual provision after full trial. The start date for that trial has not yet been scheduled. The Oregon Department of Justice declined to say if it will repeal any of Roscoe's ruling. So that's the end of OPB saying, like I said, we'll put it in the comments or in the details and everything. But like, consider the fact of like California's magazine laws and everything, the way that they're going, the way that Brune went. Roscoe, he's honestly looking like a real American. So,
cheers to you, sir.
Cheers to him. God, that's good. But yeah, honestly, this is dealing with this has been hell or high water. I mean, you can't get anything for a decent price anymore, and I mean, as Oregonians, we're not getting guns. Period. We're not allowed to. We're not able to. Okay, sure, if yours goes through immediately or you have a concealed carry, your average gun owner doesn't have that. Your average, oh, I need a gun for this or this or this or this.
Neither does your new gun owners.
Yeah, especially your new gun owners.
Like I said, I waited a month for mine. And I still was told, hey, you need to come get your refund because you got pushed past the point of no return.
Like, that's crazy because...
And then the next day...
2 days before you had gone in to go get yours, my wife had gone in to go get a Mossberg 500. And then the day after you get told to come and get your refund is the day that my wife went in to go get her Mossberg. They were both from the same gun shop. Granted, the only reason my wife was able to get hers is because Measure 114 did get held up. Or no, it was 2 days after. It was 2 days after you got told to come get yours because you got your refund on the 7th, I believe.
I believe so, but either way, the next day, 114 got held up.
Yeah, and then the day after that is when my wife got called in to come and get hers. This whole thing is it's crazy. There's a bunch of kids who don't know what they don't know what they're voting for. I mean, they're literally voting for the party that calls them stupid. Kamala Harris is making fun of all these kids, and it's this 18 to 24-year-old bracket that voted for this. You know, these college kids that didn't know what they were voting for. These high school kids who didn't know what they were voting for.
Wasn't it our founding fathers that said don't give up your rights for security or whatever?
If we're going to give it the Second Amendment, guess what? That's the amendment that protects every other amendment. Guess what? That's your First Amendment, your Third Amendment, your Fourth, your Fifth. You ain't getting no more of them because you ain't got the second one.
They know they can take them all. If they can take one, then they can take them all from you, and you will be powerless. And then we'll be just another country like, Britain.
Fuck them tea drinkers. Tea belongs in the harbor. I'm gonna turn that into a short by itself. Well, this has been Leather, Liquor, and Guns. We'll catch you guys here later. This is some brighter times, bruh.
Stay frosty.
Or something.
Or something.
Later, guys.